Hi, I'm Bella. Welcome to PageingCreatives. Pursuing a creative career can be an isolating and frustrating journey, so I sit down with working artists, taking risks, forging their own paths in hopes to encourage, inspire, and educate other artists, where we create a community to support one another and even network to further all of our creative endeavors. Right now, I have Ulysses in the house, the model. What's up?
I'm not a model. Thank you.
That was one thing. The first thing I wanted to say about you is like you're the most beautiful, humble person ever. Like whenever I say how amazing you are, you're like, I'm not. You are amazing.
Cringe. Thanks.
Okay, start off. Tell me about yourself. Where you're from. Tell me about it.
So I'm actually born and raised here in LA, specifically the Valley. My parents actually grew up here. They're high school sweethearts. So I'm a true Angelino.
Yeah.
Born and raised.
And then you have to tell everyone how we met.
So we actually met on The Idol, which I'm really excited for, doing background.
We bonded over the fact that we have both partied at a very high level.
Yeah.
And we like all the same kind of restaurants and places and things like that.
Yeah.
So tell me about your acting journey, because you started completely different. You started in, and you still kind of work in that area, but where'd you start? How'd you get to acting?
Well, so I actually went to performing arts school my whole life here in LA, and I saw bunch of my friends pursuing acting and I wanted to do it, but I was a little intimidated because I saw how hard it was for them, and I was like, I don't know if I want to do that. So I went a separate route. I had a few friends in high school that were models, and I'm like, well, it'd be really cool, because I loved fashion at the time, to be a modeling agent. So I went that route, went to college, came back to LA and started as an intern for a top agency, and then worked my way up to junior agent. Absolutely loved it. There were so many perks in the beginning, and then over time really started to resent it, and I started to forget why I loved fashion in the first place, between the long hours, the low pay, the disrespect in the industry, like just so many things. I was like, I can't do this anymore. Luckily enough, I got laid off during the pandemic and was able to really sit and think about, well, what is it that I want to do with the rest of my life, and what is it that would really fulfill me? And I thought back to my younger self and said, you know what, I really wanted to be an actor as a kid, and now's my shot. Like, you know, the world froze and I'm moving back home, and it's now or never. So I decided to take the jump about a year ago. And the last 8 months I've been training, and now I'm starting to put feelers out there and trying to get auditions and trying to get a team and get the ball rolling.
How do your parents feel about that?
You know, my parents are super supportive. My mom's a big worrier, and she is concerned about like finances and stuff, but long term, at least, she's like, well, right now you're fine, but where are you going to be in 10 years if you still haven't booked something, or, you know, things like that. So she's really concerned, but as long as it makes me happy, that's the most important thing for her. My dad doesn't really care. He's like, you know, you have a lot of common sense, and if this doesn't work out, you'll bounce back in something else and you'll be fine. So they're kind of like, you know, give it a shot and we'll see what happens. But yeah, they've been super supportive, and they tell me all the time, you know, if you ever need anything, like, we've got you. So I'm lucky to have that support system. I know a lot of people don't, and yeah, it's hard for many, and I'm just lucky and privileged in that sense.
Yeah, you have to be someone who takes risks and big swings, and you are definitely someone. Like, tell me about the time that you got on a plane for a job, a background job, but you ended up like making a really big impression. The director loved you.
Yeah, so let's see, when did it come out? So the original Gossip Girl, I think, came out when I was in like 6th or 7th grade. And I've always had this like love of like luxury and nice things, and I'm a very like aesthetic person. So I fell in love with the show back then, and then when I heard they were doing the spinoff or reboot, I was super stoked, and I'm like, I need to get in there somehow, some way. And I was like, okay, I need to figure out who does background for that. And then I was able to get a stand-in gig for Evan Mock, because we kind of look somewhat similar. And I said, yeah, I'm just going to put it on my own dime, fly out to New York, waste money on a hotel, and just like figure it out. And then, yeah, did that. And it was great. I had a really good time. The crew was really great. The director gave me a compliment. It was pretty cool. So yeah, we'll see. Well, actually, unfortunately, the show didn't get renewed. So that dream's dead. But now my next venture is, hopefully one day they will do a reboot on Entourage, because I'd also love to do that. So
right. I mean, that dream's not completely, well, maybe that show, but that director was impressed by you. So, you know, whenever he goes, you never, ever know.
Yeah.
You are always doing something that is beyond, like, I'm not even cool enough to be your friend. Like, you do so many things, and again, you downplay it. So tell me about Fashion Week.
Yeah. So now that I was able to remove myself from the industry, at least from the agency side, I can go back and like actually do things for fun, and just like, yeah, kind of dig in. So back in June, I went to my first Paris Fashion Week on my own dime, went out there. Well, at the time, I was trying to start up an NFT of myself, basically like different iterations of like different outfits that I would wear, and kind of just like, you know, like the art mimics life situation. And so we went out there to try and get inspiration, see how the street style looks, go to the shows, and like try and figure out like, you know, how many different looks we can make, because typically in the NFT space, you know, you can make thousands. So we were trying to figure out how many options we can really have here, and I needed to pull more inspiration because I couldn't just get it off the top of my head. So we went out there in June, had a week out there. It was amazing. Tried crashing shows. I had no connections out there because it's Europe, so I was trying to, you know, offering money to the check-in girls to be like, yo, look the other way so I can just walk in real quick. And that's always been like a thing of mine. To me, it's like you have to find a way to just make it work, whether, you know, it doesn't matter what obstacles in your way, you just got to make it happen somehow, some way. And that goes back to me being in high school. When I was first becoming obsessed with fashion, I started to crash my first fashion shows out here. I remember one time I stupidly paid like $300 to a security guard to get into my first like Saint Laurent show. And I didn't even really have that money to spend, but it was like a savings. I was like, it's worth it. Like, I need to see this show. It needs to happen. And yeah, I've always just kind of been like that. And then yesterday, I was lucky enough to get hired as a stand-in to be a model for the Versace show.
I saw the pictures. It looks really dope.
Yeah, it was amazing. And that was really cool. And I got to like walk the rehearsal and get that real feeling of like, wow, this is what it's like to be at the top level, like as a model. And it was euphoric, truly. Like it was incredible. So yeah.
So would you want to keep modeling and
I
acting?
don't model though, is the thing. I would, in a dream situation, yeah, it'd be 50-50, but I'm not a model. I'm too short, and I'm not like, I have like okay bone structure, but I don't have like, it's not at that level. You know what I mean? To be at the top level, like to be at a high fashion model, I don't have all of that. So yeah, in a dream world, sure. So hopefully if I can really crush it with acting, they just take you because you will be able to sell their clothes, and I can just do both. But yeah, 50-50 would be great. That's like the goal, because they're both the loves of my life. So if I could do acting and fashion, that'd be amazing.
So we talk about being where you want to be almost immediately. I guess all of us have dreams and hopes and wants, and you want them to happen right now.
Right.
So during the waiting period and on your journey, how are you keeping yourself inspired? What are you doing creatively? How are you taking care of yourself like that?
Well, I'm someone that doesn't like to stress too much over the things that you can't control. I understand that it's a very, very slow process. For some reason, the career path to be an actor is like one of the slowest moving things I've ever seen, like compared to different career paths. And yesterday at the show, I actually got to speak to Hunter Doohan from Wednesday.
Mm-hmm.
And I asked him, I was like, so how long did it take you to like book your first real gig? And he's like, well, it took me 5 years to book my first co-star. And I was like, wow, that is crazy, because I am literally in the very beginning of submitting myself. So I'm like, 5 years, that's crazy. But you got to just understand the situation that you're going into. And I'm just like, well, it is what it is, and I'm up for the challenge, and I'm just going to make it happen some way, somehow. And for me, I actually just stopped training so I could have more time to submit myself and focus on auditioning and trying to get a team, and put my package together. So right now, I'm really just soaking in as much TV and film as I can, so that I can try and just recreate scenes for myself. Right now, I'm trying to create my own scene off of something that inspires me. Right now, I'm trying to figure out a situation with like the story of a model, and kind of just putting myself in that and to try and make something out of that. So we'll see. But yeah, I'm kind of in the beginning stages yet. So I'm not at that point where I feel like I need to fuel myself in other ways other than just trying to pull auditions together, and that's it.
Right. I don't think it necessarily takes a long time. I think everyone's path is different.
Mhm.
And I know you've heard of people who've come here and they
Luck.
had an audition
That's
and
luck.
just
For most people, it takes a long time.
I hope that's not true.
Yeah.
I hope that's not true. So what are you doing if you're no longer in class and do you want an agent like right now?
Yes.
Or
Yes.
okay.
Ideally, yeah. Why not? Let's hit the ground running. Now for anyone's going to watch or listen to this, they'd probably roll their eyes, but I put in 8 months of, 3 or 4 classes a week. So I feel prepared enough, not saying I'm fully prepared, but I feel like I'm ready.
Right. Are you going to continue in class after that? Or?
I do want to go back at some point after I do like a full year of like actual auditioning and seeing, where I go with that and the feedback I get. And then from there to be determined whether I should go back or not.
And then just circling back, because you said you wanted to shoot a scene, is there a reason that you just wouldn't shoot an entire short, just like something that featured you?
Yes, because that's too much. I don't want to be, someone. It's too much. That's too time consuming to me. Like trying to figure out all the logistics, getting the money together, trying to figure out who's going to direct it, write it. Like it's just too much. Like I don't want to deal with all that. I'd rather just create a short scene that's perfect for me, that showcases what I can do, and just send that out as part of like a self-tape reel. Like I don't want to go and do all of that because I don't know. It seems like more effort than necessary for me personally.
Right.
Yeah.
Who inspires you, or what inspires you right now?
Who inspires me? That's a funny question. You know what? This is going to sound super narcissistic. I've always been my own inspiration for the most part. Like people always ask me like, oh, well, what career do you want to follow and things like that. I'm like, nobody's. I want to pave my own. Like, I don't really care what people have already done. Like, I want to figure out what I'm going to do.
Right.
So I kind of I don't know. I don't try to model myself off of anyone. But in terms of like, generally speaking, like not creatively, but in general, and this is a hot take, Kim Kardashian is a really big inspiration for me, only because she's, been able to jump out of the box that she was placed into early on. And she now is in finance, is a CEO that's crushing it. And, she's just doing so many different things. And it shows you that it doesn't matter, like specifically in this industry, when you get typecast, like you can jump out of it and prove that you can do a million different things, and she's just someone that's so versatile. And I just really admire her for that. But creatively, I don't really feel inspired by anyone in particular.
Cool.
Yeah.
I know we had one of our first conversations, we were talking about the Kar-Jenners, and we won't talk about that. We won't bring that conversation up. But I do agree that she has been able to do that. I think that most of us who are creative, we can do a lot of different things. Mm-hmm. I can sing, I can play the piano, but sometimes there's a negative connotation that comes with that, like jack of all trades, master of none. What do you think about that? Do you think it's okay that you're doing fashion or modeling and acting? I think it's a strength, but what do you think?
I definitely think it's a strength. I think it's so funny when people look at, like, a lot of musicians now are doing the transition, like The Weeknd, Bad Bunny, like they're jumping into acting. People are like, why are you doing that? Stay in your lane. Why does anyone need to be in one lane? Like, it's a freeway. Like, let's all just jump and do whatever you want to do, whatever, incites, passion in you, go for it. Like, I think that's crazy. It blows my mind how many times people are like, why are you transitioning into that? And going back to when I was working in the modeling industry, a lot of models also wanted to become actors, and even agents would be like, don't waste your time with that. Like, you're probably not going to be good at that. Like, you're good at this, stick with that. And it's like, that's ridiculous. Like, why are you going to put barriers on someone? Like, just do whatever you want to do. Whatever makes you happy, go for it. And at the end of the day, you put in enough time and effort, you can be good at anything. So, if you can master one thing, you put that same amount of time and effort into something else, and you will be just as good as the next thing, in my opinion.
Agreed. Okay, your last question, you can answer one or both.
Okay.
So if you could be in anything, what would you be in? Or who is someone that you need to share the screen with?
All right. So I would love to be in like a massive hit, like ensemble cast situation, like the, Ocean's 11, 12, 13 series, with basically, I guess, the main actors in my like age range. So if I could do a blockbuster with, Timothy Chalamet, Austin Butler, and Tom Holland, like that would be the absolute dream, where we're just like 5 massive, like stars of our age category. Not that I'm anywhere near that, but I'm just saying, like, that would be the dream, the goal, to be in an ensemble cast with everyone that's huge in my like age range.
I mentioned mine in the last one, and I'm going to mention it every time until I make this happen.
Mm-hmm.
Kenya Barris is doing Bewitched, and I Want to Be Samantha. Hello, Kenya. And Ryan Murphy is doing A Chorus Line, and I want to be in those 2 things. I'm manifesting that. But yeah, you are amazing. Thank you for coming today. Tell everyone where they can find you.
Thank you for having me. You can follow me on Instagram. I'm not a big social media person, but
You really are.
at Ulysses C, the initials for my last name, but I barely use it. So, but if you want to, go for
You
it.
should still follow him. It's interesting. Okay. Thank you for listening and or watching Paging Creatives, a supportive community of artists of all kinds. Please like and subscribe. It really helps my channel. And creatives, your art brings light and love into the world, making it a better place. And I love and support you. Keep creating.